about 10 years old at the time, and it was 2 days before Hurricane Katrina hit. They had canceled school, and we were trying to decide if we were going to evacuate. My mom was like, don't worry about it, we'll make a pot of gumbo, just sit it out. That's kind of what we do during hurricanes. You just chill, the wind blows, rain falls, and then everything's okay right after. That night, my aunt was calling her, like drastically calling her, saying, you need to leave, you need to leave. The Mayor Ray Nagin, actually just put out a notice that they had ordered extra body bags because they knew the storm was going to be so bad. And this was only 2 days before. So mom's like, okay, well, you're worried about us, we'll leave, I guess, then. So it's me, my mom, and my two grandmas, my dad's mom and my mom's mom. We decided to go and evacuate to Arlington, Texas, because that's where my aunt lives. And my dad had to stay behind because he worked with law enforcement at the time. Then we got to Arlington, Texas, and the next day we heard that the hurricane had hit. My dad had called me during the hurricane, and he actually told me, you know, everything's okay. I just made a sandwich, like it's okay. The lights just went out, but everything's pretty chill. So then he called again, and he said that the sun was out. It looked like how Texas does after it rains. It's sunny, it's bright, it never rains, it was normal. He called us back 2 minutes after, and he says, I see a wave of water going through our backyard, and I'm gonna try to get everything and put it upstairs. So he was talking about the levees breaking and how the water just basically looked like an ocean was coming to your backyard. So what he did is he tried to get all the stuff and bring it upstairs. We lived in a 2-story house, and before we knew it, we hadn't heard from him for about 7 days after that one phone call. Had about 8 feet of water inside of our house. The water was very contaminated. There were snakes in the water. There were snakes coming up the stairs while he was living upstairs. My dad also has kidney failure, and he sleeps with a breathing machine. So he couldn't use that because there was no electricity. He takes a lot of medicine because he has kidney failure, and at that time he hadn't had his transplant yet, so it was pretty bad. We were watching the news, and we tried to do the Google Maps thing, and all we saw was water. And on Google Maps, it's just you just see water everywhere. You see the house, the tip of the house, and then water. So it's like there's really no hope at this point, especially with all the stuff that was happening on the news. We're seeing people on their roofs and that type of thing, and we hadn't heard from him, so no telling what was going to happen. My dad also told me that he actually went to our second floor, and we had a balcony up there. And being in law enforcement, he had crazy tools and stuff like that. So he had a flask, and he shot off the first flask, and there was an airplane flying above, but they didn't stop to get him. They just kept going. I guess they didn't see it or whatever else. So he had one more, and a couple of days later he tried again, and they actually airlifted him from our balcony. And he was taken to the city because at the time we lived in the suburbs, which is in New Orleans East, the 9th Ward, and that is the part that had the most water, actually. So we lived way out far from the city, and so they took him and airlifted him to the city. Once he got there, he said it was haywire. There was just people trying to get on buses, people trying to find half of their families, people dragging dead bodies because they didn't want to leave their family members, because they knew that if they left them, they were never going to see them again. There wasn't going to be a proper burial. There wasn't going to be a funeral. It was just going to be they were just another name washed away. And that happened to a couple of people that I know. I have a lot of friends there, of course, because I went to school there. And I actually lost some friends in the hurricane, and they also lost family members. And some people are still trying to find their family members, and it's 10 years later. So they're like, your dad's on the phone, and I'm just shocked. So my mom's in the tub at this time, and she's on the phone, and we're talking to him, and he's like, just come pick me up from Houston. I'm at my friend's house. I found a way to get here. He said he hopped on any bus he could find, anybody he could ask to jump in their car, he would give them money or whatever else. Like, he just needed a way to give back to his family. But when I really came here and got involved, I saw that this is my home and this is where I want to be and this is where I was supposed to be, because if Katrina hadn't happened, I wouldn't have been at UTA at all. I am very happy that I ended up here. UTA has given me so much. Like, I don't know where I would be right now if I didn't go to UTA. I'm worried about where I would have been right now if I didn't go to UTA, and I'm so thankful for all the opportunities that I've gotten here, and I know that they're all blessings, because if God hadn't made me go through what I went through, then I wouldn't have gotten here Mid-Maverick. So